League of Legends released a new icon, and Riot Games was accused of tracing. Let's look at this whole situation. Everything kicks off with this icon that was posted by Skin Spotlights. Mbessa and Mel icon was added in today's PBE. If you guys don't know, this is from the game League of Legends, where Mbessa and Mel were star characters in season 2 of Arcane, which is Riot Games' animated series that was produced by Fortiche. Beautiful series that garnered a ton of views. I watched it. I absolutely loved it. And both of these are now characters that were added into League of Legends, which is why we now have an icon of them. But there is then this post that reads, "Can somebody explain to me why they just traced over their in-game models and called it a day for this one? You better not be charging RP for this icon like others, the in-game currency." And here you can see, this is literally the side profile, basically in-game model of Mel, just slightly traced. And then here you have Mbessa, where it's like the side profile model just changed a little bit. And OP adds, you can never win with Riot. You can either get original artwork where their features are erased or their skin isn't dark enough, or you can get half-assed done in 10 minutes traced work of the in-game 3D model, or you get nothing at all. Lovely. Referencing the skin tone, it is likely about this. This is posted by House of Mel on Twitter. At League of Legends, please fix Mel's skin tone and features for her Winter Blessed icon. She's a dark-skinned black woman, and what's part of why we love her. This is the original icon, and this looks like kind of like a fixed version of the art piece where they made her skin tone darker and altered some features to be less Eurocentric. For how Mel looks like normally, this is Mel's model in League of Legends. This is kind of like a headshot of her splash art, and here are some images of her from Arcane. More stills. I mean, for this one, I'm curious about your thoughts. I'm a Chinese girl. I don't think it's my place to like speak on it, but the general consensus was that people were really not satisfied with how this icon looked like. And again, there was public demand for a Mel and Mbessa icon because other characters from Arcane that were set duos. So we have Caitlyn Vi and Jace and Victor received duo person icons that seem to have a lot higher quality. This person adds, this is such a disappointment because what do you mean Kate Vi, JVic, and even Time Bomb got better quality icons than the actual characters who helped move Arcane to other seasons? Like, come on now, could have put in more effort than tracing. So here we have Caitlyn and Vi, an iconic duo in Arcane. This is their icon. And here we have Jace and Victor, and this is their icon. And yeah, I mean, if you do look at these icons versus the Mbessa Mel one, maybe they traced the in-game model for this one, but it definitely looks like it's a little bit different. The angles and stuff like that, a little bit different. You have one person kind of facing the front lower 3/4 and the other person kind of looking up and away. Whereas here we really do have like a back-to-back side-to-side type thing going on. Another commenter adds, I don't take Riot's side often, but I'm gonna be real. You guys complained for a Mel and Mbessa icon, which was deserved. And Riot released one last minute and you guys aren't satisfied. You just can't win. I'm glad they got one at all, considering they weren't even planned. People in the comment section were really like 50-50. We have people saying, and you're mad because first you guys cry about no Mel and Mbessa icon, now you guys cry that it's traced. It's their own creations. Why is their lazy work bothering you? It's an icon, not a whole skin. I don't know what you expected, and this icon looks the best out of all the duo icons. Just stop crying. And OP adds, why are you putting traced in quotes as if that isn't what this is? Genuinely asking. And I think you fail to realize if people let Riot get away with being lazy like this with an icon, they'll continue to push that line and see what else they can cut corners for. And about the tracing, other commenters were adding, a couple days ago, you guys were complaining that Mel's face was not one-to-one on a skin like it usually is. Now they make it one-to-one and you guys still complain. And other commenters were adding, yo, it's crystal clear. They were rushing it and they did it last minute. And other people were adding, yo, it's probably because maybe it's like a different artist, so it's a different art style. I do think this is like a lot of nuance in a situation to unpack about like tracing and how it plays into all of this. One, is it okay to trace? It's totally okay to trace if you own the rights to what you're tracing. If you're tracing other people's artwork and they didn't consent, not okay. If you're tracing a photograph and you didn't take the picture, nor do you know the model in the picture, nor did the model consent or the photographer consented, any of that, people will argue the ethics of that. To be the most, I guess, like ethical in terms of the artwork and in terms of tracing stuff for art, as long as you own the rights to what's traced, you are completely good to trace. Riot artists have shown their process in the past for making splash arts. They will take pictures of themselves doing like funky poses and then trace their own bodies for the art piece and the splash art. In this case is the case of tracing ethically okay, in my opinion, from the art standpoint. I think so. because Riot Games, like the company, right? The artists in the company made the 3D models. So therefore, if they gave the 3D models to a different team to go and make the 2D art for the icons, that is completely within Riot's ecosystem. They are allowed to do that. Also, in terms of like work ownership, I feel like this is something that I've seen people talk about. Typically, if you work as an artist under a company, you literally sign a contract stating that any works you create on company time belongs to that company, which is why I'm stating that Riot Games owns the 3D models, because in the contract, I don't know because I don't work for Riot, it likely will say something like that. I have worked for companies where that was in my contract to work with them. Artwork that I create in company time is owned by them and not me. Is it ethically okay to do? Yes. From the argument of like releasing the icons, right? Again, the backstory is that these are icons based in Arcane, which have very notable duos, pairs of individuals, right? We again have Caitlyn and Vi, which is a beloved duo. We also have, again, Jace and Victor, another beloved duo. Then we have Echo and Jinx, or Echo and Powder, baby Jinx, like another duo, and Mbessa and Mel. I would argue Mbessa and Mel's dynamic, their situation, and Victor pushed a lot of the plot forward, like those characters specifically. So it feels bad to see that we have this duo that does have a strong, strong, strong standing and pushing the plot of Arcane forward, not have a pre-planned icon. Should the fans be happy they got an icon at all? Sure. But feels bad to know that, hey, these characters you loved and these characters that were very important in progressing the plot forward, also the characters that are darker skinned, happen to not have an icon planned in the road work. It is a feels bad, you know, it's a little like, oh, why was that? You know, the upset of getting kind of like a, here you go, now you can stop complaining piece, when other works that they've released in the same set seemed to have received more time and thought and care. It's just a bit of a feels bad, because it definitely seems like the other icons were pre-planned and this one was an afterthought. And I do think that's true. And I think this one shares the most sentiment a commenter says deserved. If you didn't ask for it, it wouldn't exist. Had it rushed out to fit the anniversary after all. And OP says, perhaps they should have just included them in the first place, and we wouldn't have this issue. And I do think that's a very fair statement. Is tracing 3D models that you own for artwork okay? Absolutely, absolutely. Is it again, it feels bad if like other pieces in the same set of icons that were released seem to have received a lot more forethought and like care in terms of creating the artwork, and how this piece seems to be a bit of an afterthought because of public demand. Yeah, but hopefully in the future, with like the public demand for seeing more content from these two, that they would not be forgotten about in the future. I love Arcane. I play a lot of League of Legends. I do think it's fair to hold like games and stuff who are, when they're trying to cut corners a little bit, to a higher standard, especially if you are a player that's played the game for a long time and spent a considerable amount of money in the game. You know, you would want your money to be going towards things that you know you feel like is a priority for the company and not really like an afterthought. But I'm curious about your thoughts on both points. One, the point of tracing a 3D model that was owned by the company, and then two, about like having a set of icons where one of them seems to be released a bit slower and later than the other ones, that seems to have maybe less thought in it. This is all again alleged because I don't work for Riot, nor do I know their processes at all. I am just a player of their game and somebody who has watched the media they put out. So yeah, don't send hate to any parties involved, by the way. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinion and post about it on the internet. Sending hate to people, not cool. So yeah, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I also have an Etsy with digital art there, like emotes and overlays, and I have a copy with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. Hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.